Hey everyone, it's Lee from calvekakanawak.com here, and today I just wanted to show you a really powerful tool that Ancestry.com offers. And go ahead and share my screen here. It's called Thrulines, and Thrulines has actually been around for a little while. It's not new. I don't know when it came out, probably last year sometime. But when it first came out, it was actually not very. It was very wonky. It was not very useful because it was brand new. I think there was like a period where it was just like a trial. They were just trying to figure out if it worked or how it worked, right? And so at first it was just like not very useful. So it was a powerful idea, but at the time it was like, no, it's not going to help right now. A few months later, I went on and checked it, and man, it's working now, and it does exactly what it was originally intended to do. And so in this video, I'm going to summarize for you the power of Thrulines, and just show you by looking at some of my my family's documents how you could use Thrulines to help find people in your family tree. And so these are my DNA matches. Okay, so the real power with Ancestry, and people always ask me, hey, which DNA service should I go with? I'm not affiliated with Ancestry or anything, but of all of the services, Ancestry is by far the most valuable for people who are specifically looking to find out about their ancestry, specifically, who were their great grandparents, what a lot of people want to know. Okay, it says I'm Native American. What are my tribes? For people specifically looking for that kind of detailed information, I think it's a no-brainer to go with Ancestry. It's so powerful because before it had DNA tests, the Ancestry was a family tree service, and so it's always, the emphasis has always been genealogy, and that's directly in contrast to companies like 23andMe, where 23andMe, the business model has always been since day one to gather as much DNA as possible to sell, for medical research. And that's what they've done. Not to say that Ancestry is completely to be trusted over the others. I know that, people always kind of bring that up. I'm not saying that they should be trusted. At any point, Ancestry has your DNA. They could probably do the same thing as 23andMe. Maybe they're already doing it. However, the most powerful thing that they do is they take your DNA and they link it up with your family tree. And that's what Thrulines is. Thrulines is basically saying, okay, let's see how we can combine the two. And that's exactly how we want to do our genealogical research, especially now with DNA. There's no reason why we shouldn't use DNA in combination with the old school ways of doing genealogy with looking at documents. So right here, I'm showing you my screen. This is Robert Gloria's DNA matches. So these are all my DNA matches here. And, before Thrulines, what you would do is you would look through and say, oh, these are all the people related to me. Like if you get your DNA test, it automatically populates along with your tree, which is amazing. And so what you can do is you can look through and say, well, most of these people I know personally, they're my first and second cousins, right? And so that's nothing new. But if you keep scrolling down, you'll eventually get to second and third cousins and to people who I've never met before, and I don't know who they are. Although I do recognize some of the names, like Zenobia, I know that name. And I recognize some of the last names like Gonzalez and Vigil. So I know off the top of my head, who they're most likely related to through my family. But if you keep going, you have extended family, right? And so the old way that it worked before Thrulines was functional is you would look at these people and you would say, okay, I don't know them, but look, I share some DNA with them, 3%. So I wonder how we are related, because obviously we're related somewhere down the line, and it's actually not far, maybe within 3 or 4 generations, right? And so the problem you would have is, okay, some people have no trees, some people have unlinked trees. Now this person has a public linked tree. Okay, and so what I would do in the old days, I would old days like a year ago, I would click on the link tree, and the problem is you have to have an Ancestry premium account to see these trees. And so, you know, I would get it and I would spend hours and hours looking through these trees. Sometimes I would not make any progress. Sometimes I would realize like, oh, that person has a mistake on their tree. And so, you know, it was just a lot of time that I did not have to devote to it. And so I kind of stopped for a little while until I logged in, like I said the other day, and I saw Thrulines was up and running as intended. And I was like, oh, wow, this is really, really amazing. And so to get to Thrulines, what you want to do is you want to go here. Okay, and then you want to go to Thrulines right here. Okay, so when you click on that, you're going to get this right here. And it's basically my parents, my grandparents, great-grandparents, great-grandparents, okay? And so it's all of the people in my tree just listed here. Okay. So it says these through lines are generated using Robert Gloria's DNA results that are linked to Robert Gloria in Robert Gloria Jr. family tree, which would be my family tree over here. Okay, so if I look at my tree, all of these people will be there. And so if you're just building a tree, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I only know a few names. You know what? Put as many names as you can, and ask your parents and grandparents. You know, ask anybody, uncles, aunts. That's what I did until I got as many names as possible. And once I did that, then these through line matches started popping up. And what it says is you have a potential ancestor. So this one is not on my tree, but they're saying it's potential because it's basing it off of a DNA match. There's another person in Ancestry who has similar DNA as me. And so the Ancestry has an algorithm that is estimating that it's about like 2 generations away. Okay, so we are probably closely related. And it'll tell us that we're related through this person, Hortensia Castillo. So whoever that is, I can click it and, you know, do the research and see how they're related to my family tree. But the thing you want to remember is, since I'm related to the person who has this second great grandmother on their tree, it's highly, highly likely that I'm also related to this person, Hortensia Castillo. And once I go look at that, I can verify. Of course, some of the members have documents, and, you know, sometimes you might have to do the research yourself by going to Family Search. Family Search has all the documents there. But that's the other thing. Just make sure you're backing everything up with paper research, because that's the whole thing of genealogy, right? Like, we have this powerful tool of DNA, but you want to match it up with the paper document. And so for a long time, I had this is my my dad's dad, okay? And for a long time, nobody in our family knew anything about him. They just knew his name, Romualdo Gonzalez, okay? And that's all they knew. And I would ask my dad, well, tell me more, you know, who were his siblings, you know, and they wouldn't know. And so he was a mystery for a very long time, okay? Until somebody on a Facebook community, his name is Juan Zapata. He basically taught himself how to do genealogical research, and now he's got a professional website going on. I'll put that in the link also if you're interested in his services. But, you know, he told me a clue that I had never thought of before, I'd never heard of before. He said, well, you know what? If you cannot find the person you're looking for under that name, it's likely that the name was misspelled, or it had different variants in different documents. And so I never knew that before. Looking at this document, you can see that the name is Romualdo with an O, and then it's Romualdo with the U here. So even this is and it's even spelled another way here. 3 different ways of spelling Romualdo, right? And so this is just a compilation of historical documents. I got this from the New Mexico Genealogical Society when I asked them about, my family. And this is what they gave me. So, I should have known, like, wow, within one document, there's 3 different spellings. I didn't notice it before. But when he mentioned that to me, I was like, oh, okay. And then he said another thing. He said, you know what? If you can't find, because I was searching so much with the name, and he said, if you can't find anything, look at the siblings of your, your grandfather. My grandfather's right here, Fernando. And so he said, look at all the siblings, search them up, and it has all their dates of birth and all that. And so I started doing that. And once I started doing that, I realized, like, wow, this guy's name, it's spelled all kinds of different ways. And so then I was onto something. And once I started checking the siblings, I got all of the information that I needed, and the mystery was solved. And now I know exactly who Romualdo Gonzalez is. And it was a beautiful thing. And so what I did is I went to Family Search, got all the documents. Let me show you some of the documents that I've found so you can kind of get an idea of what those documents look like when you're on Family Search. It's basically like the official documentation. In this case, I found his dad. Okay, this is Romualdo's dad, Jose Gonzalez. And again, for years, nobody in my family knew anything about him. And we have a minute here, sorry. Let me share screen. I have part 2 of the document here. This is a historical census from 1880. And again, from Family Search, you can click the link and actually see the handwriting, the original handwriting. So it's an official document here. And so you have Jose Gonzalez, Antonia, and then you have the family. And look, this is my great grandfather, Romualdo, but look, it's spelled Romulo, right? 15. And again, it matches up with his date of birth and all of that. And so now I know, okay, Maria Gonzalez is his sister, Antonio Gonzalez is his brother. Okay, and so yeah, that's that family tree, and then it just starts linking from there. And I hit the jackpot as a result. And so that was one strategy that I used in order to do that. Now, when we go back to this document, okay, I just checked this a couple days ago. I went to my through lines and I clicked on Francisco, which is Romualdo's great grandfather. Okay, again, doing the research, I had narrowed it down there. And so what happened was I clicked on Romualdo here and all of this popped up and I had never seen it before. And I said, wow, who are all of these people, right? They're saying that these people are the children of Romualdo. And so at first I was confused. I recognized some of the names, but not others. Like my dad, he said Jacobo, he remembers him. I think that was his uncle. And so I knew, okay, Jacobo is legit. The other ones, where are they from, right? But the great thing about the through lines is, look, it's telling you that there are DNA matches. So for example, they're saying that Jacobo is my granduncle, my full-blooded granduncle, and then this person here is my second cousin. Now look, she's got 8 segments and 160 centimeters of DNA that's identical to mine. So that proves our relation. And it's actually combining her family tree, because look, she's got this family of her, or this picture of her dad, and her grandfather is here. And so it's combining her family tree with mine to show, based off of the DNA, because the algorithm can predict whether it's a first cousin, second cousin. It's predicting how far away the relationship is. And if you look carefully, it's very accurate, because going back to this sheet here, we can see that, where's Jacobo? There's Jacobo right here. Jacobo was 20 years old when my grandfather was 6 months, okay? And so he was much older than my dad. And it's interesting because my great grandfather, my great grandfather, Romualdo Gonzalez, he had 2 wives. Okay, so he married this person, and then he had all of these kids. Okay, with that person. Now, this person is my great grandmother. And so he married her because it says Antonia Ginso passed away. Okay, so that's how she became my great grandmother. And so it says that it was a farmer. His wife Anastasia was 24, and there were 3 children in the home. Okay. These were from the first wife, it says. Okay. So I'm not related to them. We're related through the father line, not the mother line. And then Jacobo. Well, going back here, it says, again, it's Jacobo is my granduncle. He's not my half granduncle. So the DNA is saying that Jacobo is born from my great grandfather and his wife, Maria Anastasia. Okay, not from the other woman, Antonia Hinza. Now, if I scroll down on this document, it says something interesting. It says something about, so it's listing all the children. This is my grandfather. This is my grandmother. And these are all the kids. Now, Jacobo is listed here. And there's actually something written on this document where it says they weren't sure who Jacobo belonged to because he was kind of born like right around the time where the first wife died. And then the second wife came into the picture. So I can't find it now, but there is literally a question mark on Jacobo's name. Let's see. Oh, here it is. See, it says Jacobo from first wife question mark. They weren't sure if he was from the first wife or not. But some mysteries like this can be solved. Like you're not sure if you're, full blood related to somebody, half blood, whatever. Well, the DNA proves that Jacobo is from the second wife, my great grandmother. Okay, because of the DNA. If she would not have this amount of segments if it were the other way around, which is what we have over here. Look, Thrulines named all these people my half grand aunt and my half grand uncle. So it's detecting that the people, my second cousins that I'm related to, their DNA is nowhere near this person. So therefore, the algorithm is stating that they must be related that they're only half of these lines here. Well, again, this is an example of why it's so important to go back to your paperwork, right? So let's go look for these names. I have Preselina, Maria, and Jose. So let me go back to my documentation. And I have other documentation that backs this part up, but this is just kind of easier to show. Well, let's go back to the first wife here, Antonia Hinza. These are her children right here. Look at that. Julianita, Maria, Feliz, Manuelita, Presilano. Maria and Presilano are listed right here. Maria, and it looks like that was a typo because it's actually Presilana instead of Presilano. And there's a picture of her there. All right. So these people actually appear, and it shows that they are connected through the first wife, not the second wife. And so there's no confusion there because the census shows them as from the first wife. And if we scroll down further, that other name, Jose, also appears here, right here. Okay. Jose Presilano Gonzalez, mother's surname given as Hinzer. Hinzer, there she is there. So again, when you're doing your genealogical research, you're going to see a lot of misspellings. Like right now, if I say Hinsa is the same person as Hinser, right? People might doubt that. They say, oh, wait a minute. Maybe this person doesn't belong in the same line, right? However, again, Jose Princilano Gonzalez is actually right here. And he's showing up as a half granduncle. So the name's a little different, Torres, okay? However, since he's showing up as a half granduncle, he lived around the same time as these other people. Well, it proves that Hinser, okay, is actually Hinsa. Okay, so through lines is such a powerful way of getting past all of those misspellings and, you know, get to dispel all the doubts that you may have. Like, oh, you know, because I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know, Romaldo, is it true that it was Romaldo? You know, it seems like a stretch, but it's proven here, right? Because it shows that this is his father. These are all of his siblings, but he has some half siblings because they were from the first wife. And it shows up in the DNA. And if I click here, I can see all the other matches. And sure enough, they're going to have smaller segments than my full second cousin here. So Thrulines, as you can see, is just such an amazing tool for those of you who are looking for immediate great grandparents. This is the way to go. And just to confirm your documents as well, like, you know, this is very solid evidence to support my reading of these documents here. The other thing is, it not only does it work for like recent great grandparents, but it works for, you know, your fifth great grandparent as well. Like Durani Chavez, you might recognize it if you're from New Mexico. It's a very famous name because so many people from New Mexico are related to this lineage. They were one of the founders of New Mexico. And so it says I have 192 DNA matches, which makes sense. If it's one of the founders, you know, you better believe that there's going to be a lot of people. And the great thing about this is instead of looking at that list that I showed you in the beginning, I don't have it up anymore, but the list, you know, I could go down the list and see all these people out, you know, but I'd be like, okay, they're related to me. Great. They're sixth cousin. What does that mean? You know, it means that we have blood DNA from 6 generations ago. It doesn't mean much, right? However, if you look at this now, you can actually see how exactly they're related to you. Okay, so if you want to have conversations with people, you can say, hey, we're related through this person, Antonio Chavez. Back in these days, these people had so many kids, as you can see. Look at the 75 DNA matches. So the more kids they had, the more people today living you're going to find with that person, right? And so look at this, all these people. These people are just like being shown, but you can actually click here and you can see a lot more people if you wanted to just open it up. And you can see all of the siblings that are related to Maria Chavez. Now this information, this family tree information was given to me by the New Mexico Genealogical Society. So I plugged it into Ancestry. Now I trusted them because I mean it's a solid organization and they have so many family trees of the area. It's a very prestigious organization. Of course I trusted them, but to see it like this, like wow, when they told me Maria Chavez was my fourth great grandmother, they were not kidding because look, there are 34 other people related directly to her. And because we're all related to her and they're all popping up in the same family tree, it just increases the accuracy, you know, exponentially. And it's great to know like, oh yeah, you're my fifth cousin. And look, I know exactly how we're related. So now when we have those conversations with people, it's no longer a mystery. You know, before we'd be like, hey, we're cousins, but I don't know how we're related, you know, and it would take a very, very long time if you wanted to figure it out. And however, not anymore, you know, because it all pops up just like that. And we can go even, here's another example. This person, one of my fifth great grandmother, look at this. 1,184 DNA matches, right? So if I wanted to make a really robust long tree with all of the siblings of my great grandmother, I could do it, you know. If not, I could come here and just see that all the connections to people living today, and you know, again, have conversations and do other research, confirm my research. And this is a way to tell you if you got a wrong name on your tree or not, right? Because if you've got a name on your tree, but it's not popping up with anybody who's related to through DNA, you know, that's an opportunity to go through and say, okay, let's see what's going on. Maybe there's some kind of mistakes here, right? Or maybe there's just not any people who have those ancestors on their tree yet. But again, there's so many potential ancestors you can look through as well. And so overall, I'm very excited about Thrulines. Again, I just started looking through it, and just amazing to just confirm with the paper trail that I have so far through looking at these DNA matches at a glance. And it really educates you, because you know, you get a better idea of what it means when the DNA match is said there, you know, fourth cousin, fifth cousin, you know, it becomes a more meaningful thing. And if I wanted to, I can just evaluate and add these people to my tree. And because the DNA is there, I mean, it increases the accuracy. So I just wanted to show you that this new tool, Thrulines. I'll put a link to Ancestry, get you a discount if you want to sign up, send your DNA over. But this is really an amazing opportunity. There's never been anything like this before. And so I hope that you all take advantage of it and enjoy it as much as I do. Thank you, everybody, and talk to you later.